Many people say that the Japanese are completely crazy. They do crazy things. Yes, they do, but it's normal, and we'll prove it to you. Normal. This is what we have every day. It's even necessary. Well, yeah, it's a normal show. Normal working relationship. We debunk 7 myths about the crazy Japanese right now. Myth number 1. The Japanese love crazy bars where they get kicked and spanked. It's called the Buddy Girl Bar, where muscular hostesses punch customers, spray them with juice, and spray them with their breasts. Basically, they do everything that's usually absolutely forbidden. Customers are expected to be greeted with bows loved and cherished, but recently many cafes have opened that deliberately do the opposite. They're comically rude to customers, cursing at them. And the Japanese find this incredibly funny because it's unexpected. It doesn't happen. Well, here, this idea is taken to the extreme. There are harsh lights, loud screaming sounds, and a relentless show of strength. It feels like you're being steamrolled. The special charms that these kicks and slaps are meted out by women to men, and all this humiliation is broadcast to the entire world via the online channel Twitch. In other words, everything that's unthinkable for a Japanese person is collected in one place.
We know that in Japan everyone is very respectful. It's hard for you to slap people when they ask for it.
It's a strange question. The harder I hit, the more fun the client will have. Everyone says, hit harder. I don't feel like I'm doing anything bad. I do it, and they like it. I get satisfaction from my work. I enjoy slapping. Foreigners, they really play along with you. They start having fun among themselves. There's no such constraint.
I feel like my feelings are moving a little in my mouth.
Opening such a place in Tokyo wasn't easy, if only because it's hard to find muscular girls. People here aren't very into going to the gym and pumping up their muscles, so I had to hire foreigners. For example, Toma came from Argentina.
I have tattoos everywhere and unusual hair. I was often turned down for work in Japan, but here it's so exotic, like the girls are muscular. I was well received here, and that's very important to me.
All the beatings and humiliations are on the menu. You'll have to pay extra for additional abuse, and that's a separate pain. A slap or a kick from one girl costs $1,000. Kicks or slaps from all the hostesses cost 3,000 euros.
Japanese clients, if they're caught, seem to behave differently.
Japanese people come here as if it were a girls' bar, that is, a bar to talk to the girls, to socialize while foreigners come for the menu. That's why there's such a difference. Foreigners come for the interaction, while Japanese people come for the conversations.
Surely there are private clubs that offer more extreme entertainment, but openly for everyone to see. No, that's too much for the Japanese. It seems they only go to this establishment to watch the foreigners get beaten. That's normal. That's completely understandable. So yes, the establishment operates in Tokyo, but it shows how crazy everyone around them is. If you want amazing entertainment, the Japanese are ready to provide it, but for themselves, not so much. Myth 1, debunked. The Japanese don't like being kicked and slapped in public. Myth 2, the Japanese make crazy TV shows. Japan has many amazing things, but nothing compares to the entertainment of Japanese TV shows. If you've ever seen one, you'll never forget it. For example, a man stands and has to feel something in a transparent box. He lowers his hand not knowing what's there, and there's a snake. It latches onto his hand. The camera zooms in on the hero's sunken eyes. Or, for example, a woman is running away from a scary lizard with all her might. And I'm not convinced that if he catches her, he won't eat her. So a few people try to sing a melody effortlessly, and if they're off-key, they get an electric shock. I've never seen a question like this anywhere else in my life. And we wanted to film how people come up with these shows. Who are they? The creators of extreme shows usually don't reveal their secrets, but we were lucky enough to be filming the pilot episode. This project seems scandalous even compared to the others, because it's all about the contestants' outstanding busts. There are lots of funny competitions, and you have to win them all with your breasts. The contestants for this show were specifically selected based on their upper deck measurements. They're gravura idols, that is, models who can strip down to their swimsuits for the shoot. No further! Today, they're filming an episode in which they have to catch a marshmallow in their cleavage and hold it there. The show's director, Takadai, is watching the filming, giggling. How do you come up with this? How do you do it? This is our director's usual hobby.
No, actually, that's what we thought. There are gravure idols. They have a lot of fans, and that means they'll give us views.
For a crazy show, everything is too well thought out. For the girls, it's a total profit. They're idols, they make money from their fans. More fans, more money. A smart decision.
And what other things, if it's not a secret, what other things were done on the show besides today's episode?
It was also breast sumo. You know Japanese wrestlers. It was the same, only you had to push with your breasts. And whoever fell lost.
I believe you won. Yeah.
Comes a break in filming, and fans come to the studio to take pictures of their favorite idols for money.
Idols make people smile and brighten their lives with feminine beauty. When I first started posing, I kept it a secret from my parents. But now they know about it and support me in everything.
Well, if even the parents support it, then everything's definitely okay. Normal. This is a comedian named Paradise. If you're a true fan of Japanese crazy shows, you probably recognized him. He's appeared in similar projects many times.
It used to be funnier. You could show breasts on TV. The jokes were sharper, but now TV has degenerated. There are some kind of taboos everywhere. We used to have jokes, but now it's political correctness. You can't say this, you can't say that. You can't mention anything about politics. And if the sponsor is a company like Pepsi or Coca-Cola, everything is even stricter.
Yes, those outrageous Japanese videos you've probably seen on YouTube, almost all from the past. They don't do that anymore. Normality is one. Do you like it or not? Such shows used to be free of charge because everything in society was regulated, but here, everything is allowed. Stupid contests, idiotic jokes, bullying. But global media and common standards have shut off this valve. It's unclear why. However, the fun genre hasn't given up. It's migrated to YouTube, where everything is repeated, albeit a little differently. Because the Japanese are normal people. They can handle crazy shows. But everything's fine on TV now. Myth number 2 dispelled. Myth number 3, nothing sacred. Buddhist monks serve alcohol instead of serving Buddha, huh? This is a real Buddhist bar, is it? It's run by a Buddhist monk. He's not alone. Buddhist bars exist in other cities, so there's a trend. Nikita is helping us figure out the drinks. He's lived in Japan for a long time, went to a local school, but didn't integrate into Japanese society, and therefore retained the ability to be surprised by many things there are.
3 heavens in Akurum, right?
Or what? 3 hells.
3 hells. 3 hells.
Heavenly cocktail? A hellish cocktail. It depends on what you prefer. The monk Zenon can make them all. During the day, he serves the absolute in the temple, and in the evening, he mixes absolute drinks.
During the day, we go to the temple, participate in services, and in the evening, we serve here, as if in a temple.
How long have you been doing this?
For 26 years already. Our school of Buddhism is called Jodo. The Pure Land School, our teaching does not prohibit alcohol, meat, or marriage. Moreover, we have a tradition of libations, of drinking alcohol together. to discuss Buddhist teachings.
In a Buddhist bar, we try to behave like Buddhists.
Not very successfully.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
The Japanese often go bald, but in Russia, if you're bald, it's supposedly cooler. Right?
Some might think that the Japanese are dry and withdrawn people. It seems to me that visiting bars somehow destroys its illusion. What else do you want to know?
Why do you come here?
I don't even know. Here we are, getting married, living together. And for what purpose?
What are your plans for the future?
What do you want to do? That's all well and good, but you need money, right? What do you mean you don't need money?
And what are you gonna buy drinks with?
That's not manly. A man pays for himself. A man should pay. What a fool.
When a bell rings in the middle of a feast and a Buddhist service begins, it somehow catches you off guard. We were in a bar, and this turns out to be a temple. After the service, there will be a sermon, and everyone's a little caught red-handed, with drinks on the table, lost in their daily thoughts. And then this memento mori.
All things, all our affairs are impermanent, and nothing remains the same. Everything is in perpetual motion. If the glass I'm drinking from falls to the floor, it will break and cease to exist. And the body I inhabit does not remain like this forever. Of course, events can take us by surprise. You know, I used to be into singers and idols, but idol groups can disappear in an instant, and people suddenly leave their bodies. If you realize that everything around you is impermanent, you will rise above the hustle and bustle.
That's how thoughts of eternity caught up with you right at a party, but you're distracted from your meditation. Here's a friendly blow to the back with a stick. Maybe you'll have enough insight at that moment, who knows? But if that doesn't get you, go upstairs. They hold a Thai Buddhist ceremony there. It symbolizes rebirth and the release of bad karma. To do that, you have to die on the threshold. Coffin is here for a reason. I understand that you can order a memorial service. Here, lie down, and they will serve for you. Right. I don't know who orders that, but there are those who want to lie down. There's a lid with a little window here so you can see everything. What about the incomprehensible world? What can I say?
One of the experiences is being in a coffin. It's like dying and being reborn. And rethinking your whole life.
Get up and walk.
As if alive. Yes, even better.
So. Lift my eyelids.
Give me an aspen steak. Urgently. In fact, when you think about people lying like this in a coffin, would them get a drink with relatives, say, act crying, then, well, it really does create a strange feeling as if, well, that's it, as if life is over.
Why is a Buddhist bar okay? Because how else can you reach people? They don't go to temples, so some monks need to go where people gather, and it works. So everything is right.
Some of the visitors were so inspired by faith that they started asking how they could help the temple, even though they aren't monks themselves and are busy at work every day. Some of them even became monks themselves. Some converted to Buddhism and started visiting temples.
Myth number 3 has been debunked. Monks serve drinks at bars to worship Buddha.
Let's go.
Myth number 4. The Japanese gamble like crazy. At a subway station on the outskirts of Tokyo, we see hundreds of people broken up into groups and waiting for something. This is a queue for a new slot machine parlor. It opened today.
It's not even like they just booked in advance. They submitted a competition and
They raffled it off. So not everyone is chosen yet.
so roughly upwards you gather there in groups of 1,000 to 2,000 people. So in total there are currently at least 1,000 people in line here from 4:01 to 4:30. Well, it's broken down by time. So now in the morning they're the first one in, then the next group will win.
But what if they lose everything? Will they have no money to play anymore?
Well, give the guys some decent money.
300, that's not bad.
He'd be squandering it. So these thousands of people are real players who don't just pop into play occasionally, but follow the ads, trying to catch their luck by the tail. And there's a method, a system to it.
I'll say this, Village might not be Minimar, it might be March. Maybe there will be games.
The Japanese have a very attractive trait. They do everything for real with full force. When it's some important project, it's simply wonderful. When it's something harmful, gambling or drunkenness, it's terrible. Because they go all the way here too. The Japanese are passionate, it's not a myth. But they are consistent in this, and in this, they are normal. Myth number 5, Japan is full of some kind of incomprehensible services. In Japan, of course, it's wonderful that there is some amazing service for every occasion. There is a service that allows you to call a stranger, a young man who will do nothing. You can have coffee with him, go to a concert, go to a movie, cry on his shoulder, tell him about your troubles. He'll listen to it all with indifference, take the money, and leave. Intimacy is out of the question. Or, for example, a service where you call someone for a while. A stranger comes, maybe nails up a shelf, or maybe just listens to you and talks about something. You sit for a while, talk, and then go your separate ways. Or, for example, you could more unexpectedly call a girl dressed as your anime character who enters the cafe with you. You talk to her too, look into her eyes. So sit for a while and then go your separate ways. That's the kind of thing. You get the general idea, right? This is a service for a country of lonely people. By 2050, almost half of Japanese families, 44%, will consist of one person. Young people are especially lonely. It's not very noticeable because they don't complain to anyone. Firstly, it's not customary to complain. And secondly, who can you complain to if you're lonely?
As I understand it, girls are usually girls, or maybe not only girls, right? So they have a problem and no one to share it with, and what do?
They go and talk to someone for money who will listen to their problems and calm them down. That is, the person opens up, starts crying, has an emotional outburst, and the person can somehow talk it out. That is, this very task of talking to a complete stranger in this sense, for money, and it's a
nightmare.
That is, you pay money and probably even make someone sadder.
I think so too, but in reality it helps. I don't know how it works. Let's...
Hey, bitch.
Give us our friend, the director from the Crazy Show Project. It's hard to recognize him in his new role. In his free time, he talks to people for money. Over the past 5 years, he has talked to about 1,000 people. He's not a psychologist, he doesn't have any specialized training, but that's actually a good thing, because the Japanese don't go to psychologists. It's not a habit. In Daisoga's conversations, people open up, cry, and feel better. Today, he's comforting a girl who's going through a breakup with her boyfriend.
Have you had any unusual experiences with challenges that particularly stood out to you?
Once a woman who runs a coffee shop came to see me. She was 67 years old. She felt unwell and went to the doctor. The doctor said she had a blood disease and only 1 week to live. She couldn't believe it, so she came to me. Our conversation centered on how to accept death. To die 10 days later. Yes, it's hard to talk to family members about what's troubling you.
So it's easier to talk to you than to go to your relatives, your parents, and discuss these problems with them.
Well, that's just a start. After all, I convince people that the most important thing is to talk to your family. It seems to me that more and more people here don't know how to talk about their problems with loved ones.
Doesn't this seem strange? Why can't they pour out their hearts to family or friends? What kind of close are they, then? But that's the point. People often don't want friends and acquaintances to know about their problems. Family is closer, but they'll feel sorry for you, won't tell the truth, won't be honest. So sometimes you have to pour out your heart to a complete stranger. A psychologist could probably help better, but the Japanese are afraid of psychologists. They believe that being emotionally or mentally unstable is a weakness of character. You can lose your career and become a burden to your family. Only 10% of Japanese people go to a psychologist. That's very low. Given this, such services are normal. Difficult. How do people become like this? Nikita went to a Japanese school and saw how Japanese people are taught to be Japanese. This is very important. Those Japanese who grew up abroad or frequently travel abroad behave differently.
So we have North Korea, but I don't know how, as a separate institution. Why do I say that? Because in schools, you can't do any hairstyle you want. Schools have their own uniform, their own rules, their own anthem, so you have to check the uniform every day. You have to wear it as it should be, okay? But as a rule, in all schools, earrings are forbidden, makeup is forbidden, makeup. Any, hair manipulation is forbidden, So the first teacher goes there, he checks the earrings, even the hole in the earrings. So if there's a hole, it's like you can't wear them. And that's why the Japanese have these sliding ones, which are, how should I say, not ear plugs, but plugs so you can insert them so the holes aren't visible.
Oh, that's technology.
Technology. Secondly, we have someone there who checks the uniform, making sure it's original, the school uniform, so that it hasn't been, how should I say, altered in any way. How should I say? And let's say if girls, yes, or boys there, have a different hair color, not black, they need to go to the hospital. Not black, they need to go to the hospital clinic, get a certificate stating that their hair color is different, and they must present this certificate at the examination.
Well, your hair probably didn't fit under this very same...
Hey, yes, but I kind of get a discount, like, because I'm a foreigner, but for foreigners, yes, but there's this interesting aspect. I once had the black hair. That is, I once had black hair.
Like the Japanese.
Yes, like the Japanese. So I'm no different from anyone, but my hair is dyed. So it turns out I broke the rules. But at the same time, I don't stand out. If I look the same as everyone else, then there's no need to reprimand me, so to speak. I understand the concept of everyone looking the same. Socialism. It's a socialist practice. Yeah, well, that's why I say that in North Korea and Japan. That is, in Japan, it's socialism, which is built on capitalism.
We talk a little louder than we should on the train, but no one makes any comments.
But if I understand it, this system of what's allowed and what's not is supported by the people themselves, but they'll never tell you directly what you're doing wrong. So you can't make a comment either.
There's an expression, read the air, kukyo yomu, and this explains the whole of Japan. So before someone says something to you, let's say we're talking among ourselves and maybe someone might be outraged, you should think ahead about how we're about to inconvenience someone and stop it yourself. The Japanese are counting on you to stop yourself. And that's why they don't make comments.
Well, it works for their own people. Their own people understand it. Their own people take it into account.
Yes, everyone's always reading the...
Let's discard myth number 5. The Japanese demand the strangest services, and that's normal. Myth 6. The Japanese get drunk like crazy. Japanese drinking parties are legendary. The Japanese don't handle alcohol well. Everyone knows this. But they, as if enchanted, go and get drunk on Friday night, bravely, selflessly, in a group, and then collapse on the lawn. It's Friday night, as you can see. And it seems the people of Tokyo are planning to get drunk.
I would say that in Japan,
Drinking on Friday isn't just about personal desires, but specifically about work. That is, most people here, I think, have gathered today specifically for work, like a corporate party. And only after that, they gather in groups and go, say, to a brothel, go to a girls' bar, or something. They go to a brothel in fives, fours. So it's like going to a pool table. I don't know.
Not personal, it's social behavior.
It's a social practice to go to such a place together, eh? So older person might invite a younger one and go with them to such a place just to bond. Not in the sense that they do together, but in the sense that they do something fun together, like karaoke, for example. This is a great opportunity for the Japanese to somehow bond with their boss in an informal setting, because in the office they wouldn't even approach him. They have nothing to talk about. But with alcohol, they're completely uninhibited and can actually communicate and somehow influence their own corporate life. So people easily get promoted, not by any merit, but simply by drinking with their employees. This is a very common and standard situation in Japan.
All we see is a continuation of office life. There's a hectic office life.
Right, so for a Japanese, it's not work.
Work is sacred. If work requires something, then it absolutely must be done 5 days a week. Early morning at work, formation. Everyone sings the company anthem. Then you work. Until the boss leaves, everyone sits in their seats. And then there are the Japanese on Friday nights. Corporate drinking parties appeared with large corporations after the war. Management would gather everyone after the work week so that colleagues could get to know each other better. This was important when the company was like a big family when it was fired and a person could work for the same corporation their entire life. You can say that all of these are vicious practices, but in fact, the most famous global brands of the 1980s grew on these principles. The Japanese drink with the expectation of catching the last subway train because taxis are expensive. And right around that time, the bar stops serving drinks and the customer understands it's time. And so begins the race to catch the last subway train. How do they run? They gather speed on the street, continue running in the subway passages, and some manage to jump right into the last car of the departing line. Afraid she needs support, but I'm afraid she'll somehow get there. Oh. You work in a group, then you get drunk in a group, and then you run in a group. As long as you're in a crowd, there's nothing to worry about. The crowd itself will carry you straight to the train. By nightfall, passengers barely stand on their feet, but they still form a line for the train. The line isn't as orderly as during the day. It sways, but it's there, because that's the order. See how well education works? Almost all systems have failed, but we're in line, we're in a group. Shibuya district, site of the most notorious outrages of Kia's progressive youth. The voice of conscience still calls home, but their legs no longer obey. And some fall just a few meters short of a taxi. Someone fell asleep in it, ended up hugging a tree. Someone laid down on the lawn. Those lying down are left alone. Passers-by can leave bottles of water nearby so that upon waking, people can immediately quench their thirst. The team does not abandon themselves even in such moments. Why would anyone want to get drunk so selflessly and dramatically? Perhaps the Japanese themselves can explain this. Our guide here is Mikhail. He, like Nikita, has lived in Japan since childhood.
We are in a unique area.
There are about 200 small bars here, each seating 6 or at most 8 people. So the idea is to stop by a bar and chat with the Japanese.
With who? With the Japanese. Possible to communicate with them?
You can try to communicate with the media.
They speak Japanese after all.
So we went into a random bar. We need to somehow strike up a conversation.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Goodbye. It was quick. It was short.
The bartender, having learned that we were Russian, stopped his playlist and started us on Katyusha.
Sorry. But against.
He knows all the verses by heart. It's incredible. We don't even know them ourselves. We're experiencing culture shock.
We're asked why the Japanese get so drunk, why they can't control themselves. He said they feel safe. Safe, because even if you're lying on the pavement, first of all, if you, roughly speaking, start foaming at the mouth, they'll help you. If you're just snoring sweetly, no one will even pay attention to you, no one will film you, no one will film you, no one will make fun of you. Everyone will just pass by with a smile, and in the morning, you'll still have your wallet and phone in your pocket. That is, no one will rob you. That's why even the police, walking past people lying on the floor,
Won't rob them, they
won't rob them.
Yes.
I understand. Yes, I understand. I don't pay attention to them, right? That is, they won't do anything. They won't take away their plot. And not because they're not ready to help, because it's, well, something ordinary. Well,
Something about this guy is bad, in my opinion.
Something about him, in my opinion, is completely
Different. The Japanese drink like this because they can. A good theory, but we have another. Corporate drinking parties aren't necessary, because there you can see the boss and pitch him some idea. In ordinary life, you just can't see your boss. You can talk more openly with colleagues, because in the office you can't disagree with anyone and the person will lose face. So it's impossible to promote anything new at work. There are so many rules in Japanese life that Friday evening is a liberation. It's necessary. And the fact that alcoholism is becoming a problem is rarely talked about. So a Friday drinking party is not just a drinking party, it's a technique. We've dealt with myth number 6. The Japanese don't get drunk for no reason. They get drunk because it's necessary for business. Myth number 7. The Japanese work like crazy. Yes, that used to be the case, but things are changing. Working for a big company used to be voluntary slavery. Overtime, burnout, creeping, career advancement. We're on our way to meet a Japanese vlogger named Sora. He makes funny videos about Japanese life and, in particular, corporate culture, but he finds it easy to laugh because he ditched that corporate culture and corporate life altogether. Now he's quit and is freelancing, making all sorts of videos for YouTube. Basically, he acted like a true Japanese downshifter. I asked Sora to show us how to exchange business cards in a Japanese company. It's no small thing. Make a mistake and you're fired. Okay, I brought business cards. Let's pretend we're exchanging them. For example, this one would be yours and this one would be mine. How would this look in real life?
For example, if you're an employee and I'm your boss, in this situation, as I understand it, I should hold my card above yours or something like that. You know what? I should probably take your card first, maybe.
But I have to hand the card over with both hands. That's mandatory. Right. And you also have to turn it so you can read my name.
Yes.
Hold it straight. And you also have to bow 30 degrees.
Actually, 45.
45 isn't easy. Also, I shouldn't look at you.
You should kind of look at the person. At the same time, you have to do this.
What does it mean?
That I've noticed you, but I'm
not staring at you in a challenging way.
Well, yeah, something like that. In Japanese, there's a term called bureika. Bureika basically means that in certain circumstances, it's acceptable to be impolite. That's okay, because the rules allow it.
And that's exactly what happens at a corporate party.
Yes, for Nomic, there's a rule that you can say rude things, you can say completely insane things, like you're an idiot, boss. You'd never say something like that under normal circumstances, but if you're drunk, you might forgive it. Although, there are people who never forget anything and will forever remember that you insulted them.
Wow. Do you know what a black company is?
What is it? It's a company that makes you work 12 hours a day for very little money. There used to be a lot of black companies, but at some point the Japanese noticed that our work culture was really bad. That was about 10 years ago, and these companies started being exposed on the internet, on Twitter, and many of these companies closed. The Japanese easily succumb to this kind of pressure, like they're obligated to work. But recently, probably 5 years ago, a company appeared that would submit your resignation letter for you. It was a huge success. You pay a mere $200, and they fire you without any input from you. Well, they hire lawyers, fill out some paperwork, and then call the company and show up without you and say, that's it. So-and-so is no longer working. Younger people, especially those under 26, think that if they don't like their job, they can quit and do whatever they want. That's how many streamers and YouTubers emerged, and a ton of people got jobs in stores or at Disneyland.
That used to be the foundation of Japanese life. You get a job at a company and you work there until the end. That's how it used to be. But now it's a myth. A myth that, by the way, is hard for the Japanese themselves, especially the older generation. Throw out myth number 7. The new generation of Japanese people isn't going to keep themselves at work. We've examined 7 myths about the oddities of Japanese life. Some of them were never true, some were, but are no longer so. It would be interesting to hear the Japanese's opinion on what they find strange about us. But we'll probably never know because, Japanese are very polite. And this is not a myth.